Here we have the box of our gumball machine all glued together. We have our top piece cut out and sanded smooth, as well as our bottom piece all cut out and sanded smooth. I forgot to mention that this part here also is sanded nice and smooth. No more pencil marks anywhere that's going to be visible, because it's going to be very hard to sand those off later on once this is glued together. Now what we're going to do is we're going to glue our box to our bottom and then our top on top. It is very important when we put this together we orientate this correctly. When we glue it together, we want our box to be centered on our project. You can see here, if I can get that on the camera right, just barely. If I put it this way, it is centered. If for some reason I turn this project, the gap on the right and left on the bottom here are bigger than this gap over here. So when we orientate this, we want our grain running horizontally on our bottom piece, and same thing with our project, we want our slide to come straight out at us here. If you put it this way and your slide goes with the grain of your bottom piece, then we have a problem. The slide should go opposite of the grain on your bottom piece. We're going to put this on as close to centered as possible. It should be, if you made everything the correct size, it should be about a 3/4 inch gap all the way around this project. If you didn't make it perfect, then again, you are going to really, it's going to be a guessing game. Eyeball it centered as best as you can. I am going to use my slider here as my 3/4 inch spacer. I'm going to put a little bit of glue here on the bottom. Just a teeny tiny bit. Too much glue and it'll squeeze out the edges and it will look funny on your project when you go to put finish on later. Another secret, as you're wiping your glue, if you have extra glue, you want to keep that on the inside. You want to, when you wipe the glue off, you're going to wipe it so there's not much glue near the outside edge. A lot of glue on the inside edge is okay, but very little glue here on the outside edge. I'm going to set this down on top of here using my spacer block here. So that looks good. That looks good. Just push that down a little bit. Put some glue around the top. Again, just a little bit of glue goes a long ways. When we place our top on, we want to make sure our hole here is centered over our slider. If you already have your slider made, in my case I do, I'm going to place my slider in here so my hole is centered, and then I can eyeball. If everything is made correctly, I can line up my two holes, and then I'm going to look down, see if I can get this in line with the camera. I'm going to look down this edge and make sure this is in line with my bottom. I don't want this on here crooked because it will teeter-totter and look funny. Right now, everything looks like it is in line pretty well. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get a weight and just set a weight on top of here. The weight we'll be using is just a brick. If you have too much glue, when you put the brick on your project will wiggle on you and you will lose position. That's another good reason to not have too much glue on there. Again, little glue goes a long ways. It's not going to wiggle on you if you put the brick on and you have a little bit of glue. A lot of glue, it's going to start sliding around and it's going to move. Again, let that sit for about a half an hour. Overnight will work just fine, and this project has your top and bottom glued on.